Maybe it's because the renovated Union Station is just filled with hipsters now, but it seems like a lot of the baggage there is emotional. If you feel like setting down that emotional baggage, the artist Stuart Semple provides the opportunity.
Our art's always been a connector of people, like since the beginning of history, you know, whether it was cavemen telling stories around the fire or drawing in their caves. And what's exciting about art and Stuart's work is it's a very easy way to draw people together initially. It's appealing, it's visual, it's interesting, and then you can carefully deliver a message.
Over our entire civilization, our work tells the story of humanity. And because our work is so deeply connected with emotion, it's so deeply connected with the human experience that it has the power to transcend experiential and emotional boundaries that other things do not.
Obviously, a lot of visual art speaks a certain message or a feeling that is universal.
Everybody's on their own journey, and people find things that are nurturing for themselves, right? And what we know is that for many people, it will be in the area of the arts too.
There's something about art that allows it to take you out of your world and bring you into its world.
You don't have to be somebody who can afford to buy one of his paintings to enjoy that. Happy Clouds started, I believe, in 2012, and the first one was outside Tate Modern for people to see these smiley faces, you know, across the London skyline with the backdrop of the Thames and the Tate Modern and St. Paul's Cathedral. It's just a really joyful thing.
Someone came up to me and said, hey, you know, what's the story on these Happy Clouds? Like, I live in a Section 8 housing complex. One day a year we throw a big block party. Is there any way that we could bring out Happy Clouds to that? Really, it's a great artwork that's something that you can kind of take around, tour it to a degree.
A lot of happiness is based around your expectation. So if you have a certain expectation of something and it does not meet it, then you're bound to be disappointed. But if your expectation of your commute is that it's just mundane, and then you have the surprise element of a fun, engaging artwork, well, then you have nowhere to go but for your emotions to go up. We all seek happiness. We all seek to understand more how we can connect with our communities, and we all strive for this sense of emotional well-being in our day-to-day lives. And it was amazing to see the impact of Stuart's idea and how it could bring everyone together.
It's remarkable. I don't know if we're setting world records or anything like that with all the big installations that are happening, but to me it's noteworthy just in and of itself to have so many artists involved in a big project like this.
I would say about 80% of people said, when is this happening again? So people want to be happy, they want to feel happy.
One of the genius moves of Stuart's artwork is to engage in multiple senses with people in a number of ways. So Jump, for example, engages and enlivens a portion of your brain that you might not engage otherwise. It's unlocking a zip code that might otherwise be hard to get to.
I had this sense that as an artist putting together this installation that he would be doing everything. And what's been really cool is to see how he's empowered all these local artists to get involved. And it's like he's sharing his vision and people are just coming on board.
There is such a value placed on creativity, and that's the reason why people want to move to creative places. And it's that inherent value that you can't really get rid of.
So right now is a perfect moment for all of us to step back and say, wait a minute, let's make sure everyone is with us here.
This is a contemporary artwork. It's an art installation by British artist Stuart Semple. Stuart Semple chose Union Station because it is a really high traffic area. He's also playing off this idea of a physical baggage drop.
It says emotional baggage drop, so I was a little bit intrigued as to, like, was there clergy in there?
He embraced that idea, so it does very much emulate a secular confessional booth.
The emotional baggage drop is enticing, it's cool, people like it, but we want to start the dialogue that opening up, breaking down barriers to strangers is an important thing, and we're missing that.
So the first go around, I was a little bit, reserved. And then I asked the question back, and I was just blown away by the response. I mean, this person was dealing with personal issues that are very common, and I immediately connected with what was going on emotionally with this person, and it felt really therapeutic and good just to have that connection, especially with a stranger.
So the Hug Huddle took place in London and Denver. I was lucky enough to be there for the London one. On the banks of the River Thames by Tower Bridge, lots of people turned out and we just invited them to hug each other. And it was amazing to see the response and to see how many people really opened up to it and got really involved.
I think that when it's public art, when you encounter something, when you're just going about your everyday, then that element of the miraculous, something arriving in the world that feels entirely new, can be a really exciting way of experiencing your city.
And I think that things like happy clouds and emotional baggage drop and jump and all those really do is they allow you to say, rather than it's safe to be here, it's I'm allowed to be here. It's okay for me to be here. If a family of 10 comes down to jump and wants to jump at once, they'll be accepted as much as anyone else.
Some see it as an attack on the most vulnerable, attaching metal bars to the middle of park benches to stop homeless people from sleeping on them. But Bournemouth Council has defended the action, claiming it did so in response to complaints about rough sleepers. Let's get more on this from our reporter Bryony Leyland in Bournemouth this evening.
Stuart makes his living helping to make public spaces more pleasant, and he's horrified at the arrival of metal bars on public benches, designed to stop people like James sleeping on them.
I don't think any of us can agree that putting a bar on a bench is an adequate way of dealing with homelessness or treating another human being.
If you think about 1 out of 5 people are dealing with a mental health issue or addiction problem at any given moment, only 2 out of 5 people that need help are getting it. So that means 3 out of 5 people are not getting the help that they need.
I think we need to see each other. We walk around with our heads down. We're very self-fulfilling as a society, and we need to get back to the root of seeing each other, just like looking in someone's eyes for like 5 seconds.
People who may have trouble going and talking to friends or family or say a therapist, they still felt okay engaging with art. People might not come to a mental health campus, but they're coming out to see an art installation. So it makes things more accessible for especially some of these hairier topics.
Artists will have critical things to say about, and intelligent things to say about the city and about its direction and about the country and its direction. But as they express themselves in their art, it tends to be more positive.
We had a doctor come in that he was here for a convention, and he said, oddly enough, I just finished talking about how important happiness is. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And he stumbles into our place, he does a rubbing, and he actually turns it into a prescription, which was really cool. And he said, take 10 doses of this 365 days out of the year, and he signed it MD, and it was pretty cool because it just shows that this is something we need as a society. Just to be healthy, it is medicine.